Whiskey adventurers, hello and welcome in to stop number 3 on our whiskey adventure. And today we have Suntory Whiskey Toki from the House of Suntory Whiskey, established in 1923. Our first Japanese whiskey on the adventure, my first Japanese whiskey ever. So with the last 2 stops, we did 40 Creek, a Canadian whiskey I've had many times and just never thought much about other than I enjoy it. We had Jameson, which is a staple, it's a classic. Everyone has had Jameson in one form or another. And I've been to Ireland and been on their little, not distillery tour, but little tourism area where you can go and they'll give you different tastings and those types of things. And the reason why we have Suntory whiskey today is because I went to the bottle shop to purchase some whiskeys to review. I thought it was prudent to have a few lined up for the first couple of videos so people can kind of hop in, see what we're all about. I'm hoping to expand it so people who want to see different whiskeys can leave them in the comments, can head over to our Patreon and join the adventure there and vote on whiskeys there as well. But this came in, it was on sale a little bit, and I want to say I paid roughly 50 Canadian dollars for it. There will be in the thing that comes right here, the little information area, there will be a little card that tells you what I paid for it, and it comes in at 43% alcohol, but I'm fascinated. I'm gonna pour this and let it air out a little bit, but I'm fascinated by the design of this whiskey, which is what drew my eye to it in the first place, right? Such a minimalist bottle, very Japanese-esque, in that stereotypical Japanese way that they market themselves, or that they market sushi, for instance. Always a very thoughtful, minimalist, subtle culture, or kind of the beats I get. And I know it's a stereotypical thing, but it's really effective. I was captivated by this bottle. It doesn't say much on it at all, other than to not drink it while you're pregnant. So thank you for that, Suntory. I even went on their website. The only thing I could really find on there of substance was that Suntory has 3 different breweries. The 2 that you can visit are the Yamakaze and Hakushu Distillery. They go into a lot about the different types of whiskeys they use, the different type of blends they make, the different ways they distill their whiskey, but they don't actually tell you, at least I couldn't find on their website, and maybe I'm just blind and dumb, which is, you know what, it's so likely that they do and I just missed it. But there wasn't a lot there. They didn't tell me what was in this one specifically. Another thing that I find fascinating about this, just as someone who's getting into whiskey for the first time and really starting to analyze it and enjoy it in this way, is that it's very, very light colored, which it sounds like that's not why you bought it. But when I'm used to whiskeys that are very dark colored, right, very caramelly, something that's more of a golden color, something that looks like this color here, is fascinating to me because it's different, it's new, it's exciting in that way. I think I'm ready for this review. I've never had Japanese whiskey before. I have no idea what to expect. At least when we start, next episode is going to be our first bourbon, and after that is going to be our first scotch. I want to kind of go around to all the different areas of whiskey once at the very beginning, and then we'll circle back and go into more depth and start trying new things. But this will be my first ever kind of dive into Japanese whiskey on the nose. Ooh, what is that? Pardon me, I'm having a sensation I've never had before, where my brain is trying to recollect something and match it to what I'm smelling, but it's not quite making that connection. Like an earthy fruit, as if someone took, you know, those green apple notes, not citrus, but if someone took some of those green apple notes that we were getting off Jameson, or at least that I was getting, and like cover them with dirt a little bit, like very earthy, but very fruity, like that light, it's a very interesting contradiction, right? It's like a very yin-yang type of thing where that fruit is really sticking out and it's light. It's very appley, but that earth is coming down on top of it, and that's very, very musty and and not in a bad way though, in a very, very pleasant way. But it's just a sense, this is what's so cool about this adventure, is the next time this happens, I'll just be like, yeah, whatever, but I'm doing something new for the first time, that's so exciting. I went to taste it, but I want to get the smell right. Maybe a nutty quality to it? Not like peanut butter or anything, but maybe like a... I wonder what the website had notes, and I didn't read them on purpose because I want to do this on my own. I wonder if I go back to the website, I'm going to make a cut in this video at the end and go back to the website and see what I'm meant to be tasting here. Or see what they think I'm meant to be tasting and smelling. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of those fruity notes and a lot of those earthy notes. But there's not much else. It's very two-tone for me. I'm not getting a third or a fourth thing. No spice or anything. Very pleasant. Yep, I'm calling it on the nose there. That's what I'm getting. A lot of fruity notes underneath a lot of earthy notes on top. I can't be more specific, and I apologize for that. But that's where I'm at right now, and that's the whole point of this thing. Ooh! Alright, so on the palate, the fruit comes out at the front a little bit, and all of those earthy notes kind of stick to the back of your palate, and they linger. So the fruit's like a pleasant initial offering, if that makes sense. And then those earthy notes stick around, not in a spicy way, not in a way that feels like alcohol or anything, but in a way that just kind of sits there and lets you enjoy it. It really reminds me of like taking a hike through the forest. It really does. Wow. That is surreal. I've never had a whiskey like this. What is it that I'm tasting? There is more than the fruit and the earth on the palate. On the nose, I was really just getting that fruit and the earthy notes. But on the palate, there's a third and a fourth thing. It's very complex. It almost feels like a coffee note. Am I crazy? My brain's collecting all the information, spitting coffee into my head, right? That's what it wants me to say out loud, is coffee. I'm not sure. What I'm gonna do, I'm perplexed by this. What would be fun for me and fun for you, just for learning as we're doing this? I wanna learn as much as possible. I'm gonna cut the video, I'm gonna head to the website here. I still have it open on my computer over there. And I'm gonna see what the notes were on their website and see if I'm getting any of them. Right, and then see it now, like sometimes word association is a real thing where they'll say like, hey, you should smell honey, and then I'll come back and be like, oh, I get the honey now. So I will see you, Whiskey Adventurers, back in a minute. All right, adventurers, I am back, and for science, we're gonna pour a little more of this whiskey. I have my phone with me, and I have taken a picture of the notes that they have on their website for this specific whiskey, and we're gonna see if we get any of them. So, I was right with the green apple notes from Jameson. The nose says basil, green apple, and honey. So those green apple notes still linger underneath. I picked those out. I'm not getting the honey at all, and I think that's because I'm so used to honey in Canadian whiskey being so profound. And it sits very much on top and it's very obvious that I'm not yet able to pick out subtle honey notes. And the basil might be what I'm confusing for earthy notes. I know they're not the same, and I know you can find basil notes and earthy notes, but I haven't had a lot of basil in my life, and I certainly have never just smelled basil to have that connection in my brain. But whether that's basil or earthy notes, I'm still only getting the two things, right? But they only have 3 things listed there, right? So they're not expecting you to get more than 2 or 3 different notes on the nose. On the palate, They say grapefruit, green grapes, peppermint, and thyme. I'm not getting the grapefruit. The peppermint, because I've had a lot of peppermint in my life and know precisely what that is. The peppermint, I'm surprised I didn't pick out before reading this. Almost a little embarrassing. I like peppermint, and now that it's been told to me, word association and everything, I can definitely pull out the peppermint. Yeah, I can see the green grapes. The green grapes are what I said was that green apple at the very beginning of the palate, right? It is subtly different though. The nose and the palate, now that I've been told it's grapes and not apple, you can definitely taste the difference at the beginning of the palate, but my initial analysis still stands that that note just sticks at the very beginning and doesn't continue back farther. Now, the thyme, I just don't know if I've had enough time. I mean, does anyone have enough time? But like T-H-Y-M-E. I don't know if I've had enough to really associate that. What's cool though is now I know to go and smell some basil and smell some thyme. I have them in a spice cabinet downstairs. So I'll make sure I smell them and understand those smells a little better for the next round. Now the finish, it says subtly sweet and spicy finish with a hint of vanilla oak, white pepper, and ginger. Now I found this to be very much not spicy, but it is very subtle. Yeah, now that they say it, so what happens is those earthy notes that I'm assuming are the basil, right? Like that same note is kind of sticking in the back still, and I never correlated that to be spice. There is a little bit of a spice kick at the back. It kind of leaves and then comes back a little spicy. I'm not getting the ginger, but I can see the white pepper and the vanilla oak. Although that's very specific, I can see what they're describing as those things. I don't have the palate quite yet to pick those out, but I can understand what they're describing as those things. And it sits right at the back, it leaves, you don't get it right away, and as you sit with it, it comes back and hits you. Otherwise, for something I did completely brand new, without ever having tried, smelled, looked at a Japanese whiskey before, I'm happy with my performance. That was good. I picked up that green apple just fine. My analysis was correct. I just couldn't correctly really describe what they were hoping that I would get out of this, but otherwise, fantastic. Very, very good. I've had enough. I've had enough to give this an official score. I'm gonna say the nose and the palate match really well, with the palate offering more. And if I'd rather the nose offer more or the palate offer more, I'd probably pick the palate. Although, I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic to me when one offers more than the other. In my head, it's really nice when they're an exact match, but I know that's not realistic all the time. I know I've given this score out 3 times in a row, but you gotta save the high and the low ends for the truly special whiskeys, and we will get there. I am giving this a very good rating. I know that's not a rating. I know it just goes good and then great. I gave 40 Creek kind of higher good. 40 Creek was higher good. Jameson was just regular good. And mainly that was just because it cost $10 more and I like it equally, right? So if I have to pick a bottle, it's gonna be 40 Creek. I really like this. It is complex in a really nice way, in a really different way. The bottle is more expensive, and I know it's probably because I'm just not in Japan, but it is more expensive for me than your standard Irish and your standard Canadian and American whiskeys. It's actually a little bit cheaper than your standard Scotch. You know, your Glenlivet and Glenfiddich 12s and those kind of standard kind of entry to medium level single malt scotches. So it's right in the right price range for a beginner whiskey or for an introductory whiskey, especially into Japanese whiskey. I'm not getting the sense that it's too complex for me to understand. I can't wait to revisit this at a later time, but this is really good. Really good. I'd recommend this. 100% would recommend this. I can't wait to explore more Japanese whiskeys as we expand our horizons here. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this bottle of whiskey eventually. I'm very, very excited to finish this. It's going to be a good addition to the affinity bottle I have going on. But if you enjoyed the video, definitely check out the description below. I really, really hope that you will enjoy this content and click that subscribe button so you can join the adventure as well. We also have an adventure going on Patreon. If you want to join there, there's exclusive content and exclusive access to different things over there if you wanted to join on Patreon. If you like the video, definitely click that like button. It is really, really, really helpful. It helps other people find it. It lets me know that you enjoyed this video. There's also an email address in the description below if you want to send me an email. And also leave your comments in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Otherwise, hopefully this review was substantive enough, because I don't know if I can quite explain this whiskey properly yet. We'll have to come back to this one. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. So good.